All right, this is a review of Baptiste on Illios. And so I watched this through once, and I think the main things I want you to take away from this are that you're letting your teammates die way too much. Um, and um, I actually think that if you literally never left clicked in this game and only healed, if you had healed at more appropriate times and times where you could have made a difference, um, I think you would have won this game doing zero damage at all. So just something to think about. But the concept I want to get through is not that you should never do damage, because that is also an important part of what Baptiste does. He's one of the higher DPS supports in the game, but it's more about balancing the two, and then also making sure that you're prioritizing healing over damage. So you do damage when no one needs heals, but if someone needs heals, you always heal them. Um, and at like very very high levels of play, like sometimes that's not as true. But I think in this game and in your gameplay especially, if you had always prioritized healing over damage, when there was something to be healed, like you would have won this game like even harder than you did. Um, so there's kind of three main things that you can work on to like to stop letting this happen, basically. So this is the problem. These are three ways that you can fix it. One is it may be the case sometimes that you're not aware of people being low. And when you watch the replay back, that's something that is really helpful. Is just like looking at like when people on your screen during the replay are low, or they have the critical health sign over the head, and recognizing that, oh, in the game I actually didn't see that, but here in the replay I can see that. And so that next time during the middle of the fight, you look around a little bit more and you try to notice those low health bars or those low critical health signs. Um, so I think that's the main way to work on awareness, is just like watch your replays back and just kind of see like where were some cases where I didn't notice something that I should, and that'll help you kind of adjust to noticing more things in the future. So that's number one. Two is, like I said, you're a support, you prioritize healing over DPS. Sometimes there's nothing to heal, and absolutely that's absolutely fine to DPS. Um, in some cases, when you have your immortality up, it can be okay to DPS as well, because um, if everyone's immortal, they can't die. But this is actually a lot more risky than it used to be, because Baptiste, the immortality field used to be 8 seconds, right? And now it's 5 seconds. And also, if you're gonna immortality and then DPS, you need to make sure that your immortality is in a really really safe spot. Often you end up putting it in the open, and then it gets shot down. So you can't actually DPS for 5 seconds, because the immortality field doesn't last 5 seconds, because the enemy team is killing it. So if you're going to immortality field and then DPS, you absolutely have to put it in a corner. If it's in the open, you need to still think about healing first. Um, and actually, sometimes even if you have the immortality field down, it's still better to heal, especially if a lot of people are low, because when the immortality field runs out, and you get three less seconds of it now, it being 5 seconds instead of 8 seconds. Um, when it runs out, if people are still, they're 40 HP, because the immortality field only keeps them at 20%, and 20% of 200 is 40 HP. They're going to be really easy to kill from the enemy team. So you have to start healing a little bit before the field ends. Um, so you really can't DPS for the whole duration, and it's good to like start the healing a little bit earlier. So I'll kind of point out some instances where I think you should have healed rather than DPS'd. The other thing to mention is that when you're balancing the two, like whenever you're doing DPS, you should do it in kind of short bursts. So you look around, you're like, oh, everyone's full, I can see the enemy, I'm going to shoot them. Most of the time, it seems like you start shooting the enemy, and then you just focus on shooting until someone dies. But that's not very optimal, because then during that whole time, until something dies, you're not healing your team, and your team is dying. So instead of like switching between the two and basically hard switching between the two, try to kind of soft switch to DPS for a few seconds, and then go back to healing. Or at least like look around and see if people need healing, and then reconfirm that every like 2 seconds rather than saying, okay, I'm gonna switch DPS and just shoot until something dies, and you're like, oh, I need to heal now, and then you go back to healing. You should DPS, but not wait until something dies. Just DPS for a couple seconds, reevaluate whether you need to heal again, and then like kind of make the switch between the two a lot faster. And then third is like basically what I think keeps everyone who's in bronze is cooldown usage. So you are using your cooldowns, but you're often using them very late, like much later than you could use them. And then sometimes you're kind of forgetting to use them at all. And I've seen other play where it's much more egregious in that they actually never use their cooldown through the whole fight. I think in your case, most of the time you use your shift and your immortality field at least once a fight, but you end up like only getting one of the cooldowns, or like one use of each cooldown off, or you use it like a lot later. And that does two things. One is that you just get less value from them, because like at the best time to use it, you didn't use it. And then two is that you get less uses of it because because your cooldown doesn't start. The timer doesn't start until you actually use it. So if you use something at the start of the fight, then you'll get it back faster during the fight, and you might be able to use it 2 or 3 times. Versus if you only use it toward the end of the fight, then you'll only get that one use of it. And I think you end up using your cooldowns kind of mid-fight, so you maybe get like 1 or 2 uses of it. But I think in some cases you could have gotten like 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 in some cases. So that's just something to be aware of. And when I say this, I mean I don't mean that you should always like just pop your cooldowns right at the beginning of the fight. You should wait until they are useful, but you use it at the first useful instance, rather than kind of forgetting about them, I guess. Okay, so let's go through this video. And then one very special thing about Baptiste, and you show that you know about it at the beginning of this video here, it seems like you're practicing it, is that you can alternate left click and right click on Baptiste, and it actually it heals at his max healing rate anyway. So if you alternate shooting and healing, like the buttons, then you actually heal at maximum capacity. It doesn't slow down your healing at all. It slows down your shooting a little bit. But actually weaving the two of them together, you get all the healing output you would have gotten anyway, and you get bonus damage. So if that's like another way for Baptiste specifically to like switch between healing and DPS, if you can work that more into your normal gameplay. Okay, so let's start this.
Round 1. Capture the objective.
And as you were coming out of the door, right, you were like alternating the two. So okay, so the Genji dying here is absolutely not your fault. That's his fault entirely. And Hanzo probably hit a nice shot. Genji also shouldn't go main. So that's not your fault at all. You don't have a movement ability. The rest of your team did, and they all like kind of ran in front of you, so you couldn't even see him when he died. So no problem. Like, don't worry about that at all. So you're shooting. Fine. You can see on your screen like no one's really taking damage. You're shooting. This is totally fine. Okay, and then you see them more over here. But you can tell that Ryan's kind of like he's missing health for sure, right? And at this point, you have both your cooldowns. You haven't used them yet. You haven't really had a huge like need to use them, but like you start shooting this more right now, and I guess like if you're gonna do that, you also need to like make sure that Ryan is healthy. So I think the ideal play here would be to like step around the corner and heal. Just use shift on him so that he has passive healing in the background, and then you can do the same play you did. But just shooting them more without considering the rest, like these guys taking damage, that's a mistake. So let's watch this play out. Yeah, so you're just shooting her, and you keep like shooting her until she's dead, which that's not a bad idea. Like don't get me wrong, that like getting a Moira kill is huge, but at the same time you have these cooldowns that are sitting here, and you have teammates that need your healing. And you have the ability to address both of these problems. So instead of just dealing with the Moira, you need to do both. Okay, and in that time that you spent killing the Mora, your Winston died, right? So, like if you had used the shift, or maybe at some point during there glanced over and looked at your tanks and maybe thrown in a mortality field. I don't think this happens. And then you guys are down the Genji, but he's gonna be back soon. You guys just killed their min heals. If the monkey's alive, this is an easy win. Like you're up, and you got a DMAX, so you'd be up 5-4, and pretty soon 6-4, and that should be an easy win. So now you're jumping up and you're DPSing the hog, but like you never looked at your Rhine, and you never looked at where your other DPS is, who is in Genji. I think it was a soldier or something. I don't know where he went, because he never showed up on your screen because you never looked for him. So before doing this, and remember, Hog has a self heal, and his support's over here. I think I heard an Anna. So like, you're never gonna be able to kill this by yourself. So just take a moment before you like start DPSing and look at your Rhine, who's I think missing like 100 150 HP. He's not like critically injured, but he could use some health, and healing him up might allow him to stand on this point, or might give him the confidence to stand on the point. And you also never looked at your Moira, who could be low. You have no idea, and you still haven't used these cooldowns. So you need to address your team your team support role first before doing the DPS. Okay, yeah, and so you, oh, it was a Hanzo. Your other DPS was Hanzo. So Ryan is backing off because he has no shield and he's kind of low and he hasn't gotten healed. So if you had been healing him, he would be on point here and they wouldn't be capping. Right. So, but I guess thinking of the overall situation now, your Genji should be almost back. Their other team lost 2 and you lost 1, so you're gonna be up 5-4 here. Okay, good. Now you're healing him. But if you had healed earlier, he would have been able to hold point, right? But then now, like, remember you heard that his shield broke, and I can't really see here that well. I think he has a little bit of armor, so he's about like 350 or 400 HP. He's still not quite full. And then you're holding in front of his shield in the open with a hog looking at you, which is really dangerous. Like, he could definitely hook you and pull you in the pit and you die. And you never have a chance to use your mentality field. So just make sure that you're playing behind your tank. Also, or if you're gonna play on point, then what I want you to do instead is you can use this as cover to block all of this. Like, I think there's like 3 people over here that are shooting this way. If you stand on this corner and put your immortality here, none of them can shoot the immortality. The hog can't shoot the immortality, so any damage coming in, you're safe from. It's still pretty risky though because the hog can hook you, but that is at least better than standing here, or I think you were right here. It's still better than standing here in the open where they can all shoot you, and the hog can still hook you, and you don't have any safe place to put the immortality field. Right, so here, you're standing here. You use cover a little bit, which is good, but I want you to see you doing that more. Okay. And then you take this duel with the Hanzo, and again, like, it's not bad, especially when you fight him with the immortality field. But this ideally isn't really your job. So let's watch this back from here. And your Moira's missing health here, right? I think. Yeah, I think she's missing like 50, or like maybe like 30 or 50 HP. So like, again, this is easy healing for you, right? Like, just top them off before you go do other stuff. Okay, so you hear the Hanzo and you turn, which is good. Hanzo gets the kill right away, so that's unlucky, but as soon as you heard him, you could have dropped your mortality field here, or just behind the Rhine to make sure he doesn't get any kills. And then Rhine's going to need a lot of help soon. So I would like to see you at least drop the immortality field like over here to help both of you, and then you can turn and fight the Hanzo. Or you can maybe even back off and just support your Rhine and ignore the Hanzo. But basically, like, you do have a lot of problems here in that, or there's a lot of like threats, right? There's the Hog, your Rhine's getting low, you need to help him. The Hanzo's flanking right side, you need to deal with that. So like I don't mind the play of going after the Hanzo, but you need to make sure you do your other jobs like at the same time, or at least like support your Rhine with this first. Okay, so and like as soon as you decide to turn on the Hanzo, or like as soon as you decide you're gonna take this duel, you should use this because he can one shot you. Like at this point, I think you've already forgotten about the Rhine, but so maybe you don't think to use this on the Rhine, but at the very least, if you're gonna take this 1v1, you really need to do this on yourself, even selfishly, just to take this duel if that's what your decision is. But you do like use it, but right, like that shot could have killed you. His second shot hit the pillar, but that could have killed you. And now you use it. So like just use it faster, and then you can push him harder. And then so that would be a slight improvement, and then being able to help your Rhine and also deal with the Hanzo would be like the second, like even better improvement. So I like that shift there. So you knew that you took the fight with Hanzo. You weren't sure what the status of the rest of your team was. So you used shift to heal them. You were also low, so that's good. Okay, and now you're dealing damage to, again, two targets that you can't kill. This is D.Va and this is Hog. Self-heal, she can Matrix and fly away at any moment, right? So shooting these people isn't really going to do anything, and their Ana's right behind them. But these guys are in positions where they're going to need support. So instead of like jumping up, right, you're over here. You can stand right here, use the pillar as cover, and heal them. Like just shoot across. This way, you're behind the pillar from these guys' point of view, so they can't shoot you, and you can keep your team up while they fight these guys. Right. So even after you land, you can still just step over slightly to your right. You can see the critical health here. You can see yellow, and yellow, that means they're missing health. So just stand over there a little bit, and you can lob health at them. Okay, so this is like the position I want, but now you need to heal them, but you don't. Okay, and so like again, you stand over here. That's actually totally fine too. Like that's a safe position, similar to the one over by the pillar, because you're blocking line of sight from the damage coming in. They can't see you, but you can still see the rest of your team and you can heal them. But you don't. You step up. You walk into their line of fire. Right? This is safe. You can heal, but you don't. You walk forward. This guy needs health a lot more than this Winston. Like you can top him up after you give him a little bit of health, but he's only missing like 50 HP. This guy's missing like 200. So maybe just an awareness thing of make sure when you see the sign, like try to prioritize. And also like the decision to step into the point from out there just puts you in danger and doesn't help you heal anymore. It just puts you in danger, and like you can't. These are still targets you can't kill. Okay, now you see the Widow, so you're taking cover, which is really good. But that's also not a target you want to fight. You still want to be here and healing. You step into her sight line. You're using shift here, but so right now the only person that the shift can heal is you, but you're at 195, right? So this is a kind of a case of like a poor usage of cooldown, because the people that really need the shift are over here, but shift doesn't reach them there, but you can right click them. But instead you're shifting yourself for 5 HP and not healing them. So yeah, I don't know. Like this monkey's full already. He has shield down. These guys need help. So just things to be aware of. Okay, and this is kind of your fault. You let him die. Okay, so then again, like the hog isn't someone you can really kill, but I kind of get it that like people are dying and you're trying to maintain point. But then you have this immortality cooldown, you're not using it. So when you decide to take the 1v1 duel, Baptiste's big advantage is their mortality, because they have to kill 200 HP before they can shoot you. So once you decide to take a duel, just make sure you use that. Okay, and he's also nanoed, so there's absolutely no way you can kill him. Again, remember that you have this monkey bubble here. So you can heal this. You can back off to the corner here, this corner right here. You can use that as cover from the Hanzo and the Widow that can one-shot you, and the Hog that is nanoed. And then you can help heal point, and you can put the immortality right behind the corner over here. And then like that would enable you to take a fight with one of these guys. If there's an immortality that they can't kill, then you're immune for 5 seconds, and you can try to pressure them out. You also need to look left here and be aware that I think this is your Moira, or she might be like a little bit further behind. But she's also getting pushed by targets that you can kill, and also you could save her with this, or just heal her and keep her up. So I guess what it kind of boils down to is, first you have to be aware of what's going on over here, and then once you are aware of them, you need to heal the targets that you can affect rather than try to kill the targets that you're very disadvantaged against at range or with massive health, and who can kill you. So like go away from the danger, support your team. Once you deal with these, then you have a 4-on-3 or a 5-on-3, and then you can take the fight back to these guys. Okay, so your Moira killed 2. Okay, so this is good. Like you could have used it a lot earlier, but you still got it out, so that's good. That's the right idea, especially because you're fighting these guys. This is still pretty important for you to heal the Genji. But you're using it to DPS, and you're also low. So this kind of goes back to immortality is not a free, like, I get to DPS button. You still have to do your primary responsibilities first, which as a support is like keeping your team alive. So this, I like the use of this to keep yourself alive, because there's 3 people that can kill you looking at you. And then I really like that you're taking cover here. But that's the use of this, is to get you into cover so that you can support the rest of the team. It's not use this and then DPS 3 people that you're disadvantaged against who can basically one-shot this and then kill you. It's use this to transition to cover, which is good, and then heal your team. Do your job. Okay, so at this point you turn and heal, which is good. He gets 2-shot through your healing, which is unlucky, but at least you're doing the right thing here. I'm not sure if Moira is actually still missing a little bit of health. She might be. This is definitely something you can right-click over to. You just like aim up a little bit and it'll hit her. And then at this point, when you don't have your cooldowns, either of these, it's pretty risky to take the fight here. I think it's fine if the idea is that you're just going to die on point to like get a little bit more percentage and then respawn with your team. I think that's totally fine. But if that's not what you're thinking, if you're thinking like, oh, I'm going to go fight this Hanzo, then I would rather you back off and then like wait for at least other people to come and then take on the Hanzo together. Okay, you hear the hog, right? So your movement here is good. You're backing out. You heard the hog right side, so you should keep backing out. Okay, good. This is all fine, I think. And the reason why it's okay to DPS there is that both your tanks are healthy, and you have both the Winston shield and a Rhine shield in front of you, so they're not going to take any damage. So this is totally fine. In this frame, I would like remember the thing where you can kind of damage and heal at the same time by alternating right and left click, or I guess on console it's a little bit different, but alternating the shoot and the heal buttons. This is like a perfect situation for that. Basically, if you're aiming at the hog, when you heal, it's going to hit the Rhine and heal him. When you shoot, if you're aiming at the hog, it'll hit the hog because the Rhine's between you two. So this is like perfect instance of alternating fire, and then you get both jobs done at the same time. I guess you backed off because. Oh, okay, I see. So the Widow is looking, and you're outside of shield. So I like this retreating back into the cover the shield, but you still need to focus on this fight primarily. You need to like be healing your Rhine and also shooting the hog. Reloaded. Okay, so you reloaded here, but you're at. Oh, it's kind of hard to read. But I think you're at like nearly full ammo, and you're at full heal ammo. Yeah, here we go. So you're at 26. So you're at half of your left click or your shooting ammo and full of your healing ammo, or 10 out of 12. Sorry. So there's not really any reason to reload. Yeah, I'm still at 24. Yeah, so this whole time you could have still been doing stuff to help your Rhine and doing stuff to try to kill this guy. And actually, like, so the monkey shield, like, it's not a bad idea to step back here. But like, for one, you know, you can see it's cracked, so it's low health. But the other thing is that it came out kind of a while ago, so you should be kind of thinking that this isn't going to be here that much longer. And the other safe place you could go is actually just to your left. Again, where the Moira was, there's a wall over there, and you can use that wall, or you could even rotate like to the inside area to have better cover against these guys. And your Rhine's going to be between you and the hog, so that the hog isn't going to be a problem. So I like the idea of taking cover because the Widow was shooting in your direction, but instead of using temporary cover, if you use the permanent cover of the wall, it's a lot better. Okay, so Bat Bolt doubles your healing and your damage. I don't mind shooting the hog here, but you do also absolutely need to heal him. And like I think that actually keeping your Rhine up is more important than killing the hog. But there are two ways you can do that. One is by healing him through the amp matrix. The other is by giving him immortality to buy you time to kill the hog, and then you can go heal him. So this is kind of another case of like, I don't remember if your Rhine dies here, but like he could very easily die, and you're letting him die. Like he's doing his job of like making space, but you need to do your job of supporting him. So like this is all fine. You see that he charged in. You can step slightly right and be able to heal him. Or you could do the same thing, step slightly right and throw this in and then shoot the hog. But it kind of feels like your idea of using the matrix was just so you could shoot the hog. And while yes, that's one of the benefits here, you have to be prioritizing healing over damage here. Kind of in your mindset or your goals in the current moment. Very good. Not quite sure why you back off there. This is good. Keep in mind if you shoot like your heal ball here, the explosion radius is kind of like this, so it'll heal him around the corner. You don't have to have direct line of sight on him. Then you take a step back out to here. If you feel like you're in danger, again, you still have this cooldown, so you can put this right on the corner here, and then you'll have like 5 seconds to free shoot because they can't shoot the mortality. So if you're worried, like because you have this cooldown and you have the window up, you can just immortality yourself and then use the maximum value of the mortality field. You don't have to be scared. And you really need to keep the Rhine up. And again, like here, you're just shooting. Like you can alternate fire here again, or if you have to pick one, pick healing the Rhine first. Because it's not that he's necessarily going to die here, because you did heal him up to about 300, and he has at least some shield left. Although you can see his cracks, so it's a little bit low. But the idea is that if you give him full health, which you can do with like 1 or 2 right clicks here through amp, that allows him to walk forward and like swing at people, and then you don't have to kill the Moira because the Rhine's gonna kill him. Like you can heal your Rhine, he'll kill her for free. You don't even have to worry about it. So let's just watch that again. So like here, like he's half, right? He's like half. This is the health bar. If you put 2 right clicks into him, that's, well, there are 50. Each heal click is 50, but it's getting double through amp, so that'll be 200. That'll put him at like here, and then at that point, he's gonna have the confidence to walk forward because he knows he's not gonna die. And then you can also shoot through behind him, and these guys will be worried so much about him that they won't have time to look at you. So not only will you get more damage, not only will you enable the Rhine to do more, you'll also be able to shoot more and be safe. And like, you can see the cracks in the Rhine shield. Like, it's at this point, like, it's very possible that it only has like 100 to 200 health left, and that's actually a pretty big risk to you. In that, like, if they break the shield, they can actually kill you now, right? So, by enabling your Rhine to walk forward and take the space and take attention, you not only protect him, you protect yourself, and you let him to get more value, and you allow yourself to get more value. Okay, so I like this dragon, or sorry, I like this immortality field here at this point, after in response to the dragon. You could have used it earlier, like a little bit earlier in the fight. Using it now is fine. When you're using it in response to a dragon, it can be a little bit better if you wait a couple seconds and look at where the dragon's going before you use it. So if you had waited a second or two, there's actually a pretty good chance that you guys have time to back out here and you don't have to use it, and you can use it to re-push in after the dragon. But sometimes it's kind of a close call, and I think this is fine here. But then your mistake is, like, even though you have the mortality field up, you still don't want to walk into it and take all the damage, because then you end up at 40 HP. And you do have your shift up, so you can heal it back up. But like, this is still really risky because you never know if they have someone on the flank that can shoot your immortality field, and then you're at 40 HP and you're still standing in the dragon and you're gonna die. Yeah. So like, just because the immortality field up doesn't mean that you want to take damage. Like, sometimes if you have to take damage or if you can force value, like, it's fine. But like in this case, I think you could have just stayed closer to the wall and like looked for a different angle rather than walking into the dragon to shoot. Yeah, and I guess maybe your thought was like, oh, I don't want to give up point because it's like close to being capped, which I think is fair. But like, remember your Moira's there, and like, like these guys are basically on point already, so you had enough time to come this way if you really wanted to. And then just like stuff like this, make sure you heal. It's an ulting Moira, so she's gonna be healing herself as well, but you can just make extra sure that she's not gonna die. Yeah, I think if you had been healing more consistently there, like, she would have had enough health to survive the shot. But it's not like a huge thing. So that whole time, you could have played the Hanzo as well, I think. Yeah, so you came this way to look for a Widow. You had gone this way, and then shot over here. Around, you could have healed him around the corner as well. So basically, in this situation, like, the Widow can't shoot you because she's up here, right? She can't shoot through the wall here. And she's no threat to any of these people you're standing with. The only person she's threatening is this. You can heal him and try to keep him alive. Even if you take this angle out, you're gonna have to go pretty far to be able to see around this. The same way that she can't shoot you, you can't really deal with her either. So just do your job here. Maybe they still die anyway, but like, if you keep them alive, then it's like 5-on-1, right? So it's just kind of like, this target can't do anything to you, and you can't really do that much to her unless you like go way over. But you can impact this right away. So just take this, or like take this value rather than trying to like force a fight here. Right, like all that time that you took to walk all the way over here and then walk back, there was still nothing you could do with the Widow, and still nothing she could do to you. But at the same time, your team lost you. I think the monkey probably would have died anyway because he was like peeking really hard into their hog. But the Hanzo you definitely could have saved because he died to Widow Mine. That's like long damage over time. That's not that high. Okay, and then so just like standing here in the open is pretty risky, and jumping is pretty risky because once you go up in the air, you can't affect your movement, your positioning that much. Your movement is much slower in the air than on the ground. So this is actually setting up a really easy hook for the hog. He doesn't go for it here, but like it's just really risky. If you just step to the side, then you're fine, and you can peek around the corner. Okay, and I remember you turned on the Widow, so maybe you heard her footsteps there, which is pretty good awareness actually. But yeah, so you like turned on her right away. But here again, the same problem as like I think in the first fight, you have these cooldowns, and you have two people on point. The Ryan and the Genji, I think, they're over here. They're gonna need a lot of support because the rest of the team is coming in, right? So wait, I went way too far back. Right, so you see three of the unnamed team coming in. And then you turn on the Widow. So, you know, again, like DPSing her, like it is somewhat important to try to force her out, but there's much more value they can do, like fighting on or like supporting your team on point. And if you really want to take the 1v1 here, you need to use your cooldowns on them, and then go take the fight, or at least use this, and then take the fight. And it would also have been better if you had been healing a little bit more before you take this fight, because right, like your Genji's, I think he's like half. And your Ryan's starting to take some damage. He's gonna take more. Your Genji's like 3/4 actually, not half. Right, you're just left clicking, left clicking. Your Ryan's now half. You didn't heal at all during that whole time. You have two cooldowns that can be used to support them. And then you just go and left click the Widow. So you didn't really do your job of healing. And then you just, you know, took kind of the Genji's job of fighting the Widow, which, you know, maybe if he's not going to do it, like it's not necessarily bad for you to do it, but you need to take care of your own job first. And if you're gonna take the fight, just jump up right away. You don't need to shoot her from low ground. You're just kind of giving her a warning that you're coming. And this whole time, like she's shooting on yours, and the people that you need to use like your cooldowns on. Okay, and then again, like these should have been used on your team, but like once you've decided to hard commit here, you should use it to take the 1v1. So ideally, you would use at least this and maybe also this on your team, and then heal them. Second best is you use at least this and maybe also this on them, and then you come take this fight right away. Third best is you just ignore your team and take the fight right away, but you should use like immortality to force this fight and like make sure you win it. Fourth best is like just coming up here and dueling her and not using this at all on anyone. I think you do pop the immortality in a couple seconds here, but yeah, or I guess not. But you know, like just make sure you use your stuff. And then when you come back down, right, there's a corner here. You can stand here, and you can heal your Rhine, and you can immortality him, and he'll stay alive. But instead, you heal him a little bit, but you drop in the open where it's dangerous, and then you don't really commit to healing him. You start DPSing, and then you let him die. So you only healed him twice. That's 100 HP. You didn't commit immortality to him. You went past the corner into the open. And then because of that, you felt threatened and you started shooting them when you could have healed him and kept him alive. So, like, ideally, after you kill the Widow, you drop down right here. You heal him. You immortality him. He stays alive. Second best is, I guess you drop down here. You walk toward him. You immortality both of you, and you heal him and keep him alive. Third best, I guess, is like what you did, but use this on the both of you at least when you're out there. And then, you know, this is kind of the worst situation. So your Moira went to go to try to heal him, but she was coming for spawn, so she was a little slow. She was still like back in the little hallway area when you dropped down. I like this idea of like now that like your Rhine died and stuff. I like the idea of like you're going on point. You're gonna try to like at least stall point and die on point and like get more percent. The immortality placement though. Okay. So you throw it and you land it right here. If you land it right here, they can't shoot it, and you have five seconds of like being free. Like except for you have to worry about the hog hook. But that's going to be a problem regardless because you let your Rhine die. But by putting it here, now you only have until they kill it, which could be anywhere from like 1 to 5 seconds. Versus if you just put it over here, you can still stand in the same spot and you'll have 5 full seconds of like shooting stuff and only worrying about the hawk hook. So just a small like mechanical thing there for that cooldown. Right. So instead of this corner, just put it slightly behind the corner over there. I don't like walking at the hog here, and I actually don't like shooting at the hog here either. So Hanzo is killable, but this guy is definitely not. The Ana might be killable, but this guy, you know, first he has what like 600 HP, and he has a self heal, so he's never gonna die. And you walking closer to him actually makes it easier for him to shoot you because he has a shotgun, right, which has spread. So the closer you are to him, the more damage he's going to do to you. Whereas if you're far away, then only a few of the pellets of his will hit you. So and your shots all go. I mean, they go slightly up, but they kind of hit in a small area like this. So even if you're far away, you can still land all 3 shots on him. And then also like playing here, you no longer have cover. Whereas back there, like once your immortality goes down, whether they shoot it or it expires after 5 seconds, you can just duck around the corner. Out here now you have nowhere to go. You have a pit here and you have a doorway over here, but it's kind of far away. It's going to take you like a second and a half to get over there. Yeah, so you I don't know, by like walking up to him, you let him get the damage on you that started this whole chain of events of him killing you. If you had been back here from the start, you wouldn't have gotten the damage, and at this moment, you maybe if he had made the same play, maybe you would be half, but you wouldn't be dead. But your team ended up pushing this out, so it doesn't end up mattering. I think that's basically the end. There's like just a few stagger kills left.
Overkill the Mahal. You're pulling the best round.
And that's good immortality, by the way. Just like responding to the Diva Bomb. It doesn't matter because the round ended, but you know, if there had been a couple seconds more, that's a good immortality. Although again, like if you place it right here instead, then it basically protects everyone it was going to protect, being you and the Genji. And it actually doesn't die to the bomb. So just in case they have stuff coming in after the Diva, you're able to kind of shoot them for the remaining 4 seconds or whatever that it's up.
Immortality field destroyed.
So I'll go through the second part of this. I'll go through the second part of this pretty quickly, but it's a lot of the same things. Basically, like make sure you do your primary job in your head is to heal and keep people alive, and make sure you do that job by one being aware of like when people are low and healing them and making that the priority. Two, using your cooldowns effectively and like committing your cooldowns when you need to keep people up and using them earlier so that you get them back faster. Then three, just kind of prioritizing healing overall. So start the match. So you're shooting shield here. This is fine. Like no one's necessarily in danger. I think your Hanzo jumped off by accident, which is unlucky, but it's hurt. You kind of let your hunger run out to dry there. You just like he's fighting. There's 2 people there, and only one of him, and you just kind of like run toward point. So if you want to, you can make this transition, but you need to like kind of still look at him and like throw some healing his way, or maybe give him a shift, or maybe give him this. Just like abandoning him is not good. Okay, so at this point, I think it's fine to shoot these guys here. But if you can be slightly a little bit further right or like back a little bit, you'd be able to see like your Moira and make sure she's doing okay. So these are a good target to shoot at, but you also like if you can keep your team alive, they're also shooting these guys, right? So by keeping them alive, your team overall will get more value. And your Moira will also be able to keep you alive. So like this is good, but you need to do both. You need to check that they're okay, and then this is really good to shoot. If they're not okay, heal them first, and then deal with this later. Right, so you finally look over, and she's purple and low. Use this immediately. If you had looked earlier, you might have been able to use this earlier as well, and maybe she doesn't take, maybe she'd be half or something, right? Okay. You know, you killed Anna, but your Moira is still like purple and low behind you, so this is really important right now. Okay, so you finally that's it. You tried to heal your Moira, but you didn't really commit to it. Like rather than trying to heal her twice and then looking at the hog, you need to fully heal her, and then you also have this cooldown still. So just you know she's low because she was just on your screen low, and you're trying to heal her. Turn this way and like make sure she gets healed and is to a livable point, and then turn on the hog. Right, like the more staying alive is way more important than killing the hog right now, because the Moira will keep you alive for one. And she just like she'll help keep the whole team alive. So just like finish that healing job first, because that's the highest priority, and then turn to do the damage. Okay, and like she's healing you, you need to heal her, right? And you're still DPSing their Moira, which again, like if you had healed your Moira also, then this is fine. Or like if your Moira is not that hurt, then shooting is fine, because that's a pretty high priority target. But above that is healing and keeping your team alive. And again, so let's go back a little bit here. I guess you went for a reload instead of healing him, but you still have like you have five like ammo shots left, because they each take 3, and you have 8, like 66% of your healing left. So like just use it. Don't reload. Right, like if you heal the monkey and keep him up, he's probably gonna get his shield cooldown back pretty soon, and that'll help keep both of you alive and let you shoot these guys while them not being able to shoot you because he can drop shield. So by keeping him up, not only do you let him get more value by like making it so he's not respawning, so he can actually shoot people. You also give yourself more value because you can buy him time to get the shield down and then shoot through it. So you saw him use the shield there. Luckily he didn't die, even though you didn't heal him. But he definitely could have died earlier before the shield came down, and then he does die here. Right, and like you can see in the kill cam, at no point during that did you ever heal the monkey. Like you shot one healing shot at him, which is 50 HP, and then you just let him die. And then you tried to DPS the two people walking through their door. But if you had kept him up, then you could have dealt with these people together through his shield.
Well, it could be worse. Group up with me. Over here.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good call. Basically, a lot of people are dead, and you should group up. But you know, happens sometimes. People don't listen. You should still try to heal him here, because if nothing else, you get free alt charge, and it's gonna be like he's probably gonna die here, but it's gonna be a while for him to respawn anyway. So you could throw this in as well. And you're DPSing here. He's out. With some support, he can definitely live here, and you can play this corner. So priority needs to be healing him, because he got out. So now you have time for the rest of your team to come in, and you can go to 6. If you just shoot them, it's extremely unlikely that you're going to get a kill. There's a slight chance they are going to kill you, and there's a pretty high chance that they're going to kill this, and then you're going to stagger again, right? So if you want to take a 6v6, the way you accomplish that is by healing him and making sure that you don't die by playing corner. Yeah, and you're dueling a Hanzo who can one-shot you. You still have the Hog who can hook, although he's too far away right now, but if he walks up a bit. You're playing corner, you're still completely ignoring the monkey who is missing health. He jumps in anyway, which is, you know, bad decision on his part, but if you had healed him, then he would have made the decision with like 100, and then, you know, the first time he got out, right? The second time he would probably also get out if he was full health instead of half. And that was your job to get him to full. Okay, good shot there. Healing him. This whole time you do still have this immortality field. So let's see where you could have used it. So at this point, because he's like really low, it might be a good idea to use this just to save him. You could put it here, or like if you think you're gonna want to push, you can put it like over here. But I would probably say this way because he's trying to back out, and you're going to want to get out. When you get to this point, now you could put it over here, and it'll be protected from the. I think there's Winston. There might be one more person over here. If you put it right here, it'll be protected from their sightlines, and it's blocked from the point sightlines by the bubble. And once you turn the corner here, you can put it like behind this corner here, over here, and then it'll be protected from the point, and you guys are pushing in this way, so the person there is going to have a hard time taking it down because you're running at them, and it would that would keep you guys both alive. Okay, kind of abandons you, which is kind of rude. But at this point, it like at anywhere during this jump, you could have used the immortality. So you back up to corner. You're pretty safe here. You charge up and jump. You jump up. You see that he's going in. At any point during this, you could have put it right here, and then that would let him walk up and like zap people on point. And then like this area would be places he could go with that. And you're shooting the hog rather than healing your monkey. And you should be healing him to buy him time to jump out, and also to like or put down his shield basically. So his shield is he's gonna have jump pretty soon, and I think his shield maybe still has a few seconds left. But if you just keep him up like for 3 or 4 seconds, he'll have shield, and then the rest of you will have time to get in as well off of that, and then you'll be working around the shield as well, and you'll get more value. In addition to him being alive. But instead he dies. You let him die. And this whole time, like, you don't have to worry about your Rhine because your Rhine's holding shield, right? But you could kind of see on your screen, there's a Reaper up top. Oh, yeah, he dropped it actually, so you can't see him anymore. And there's a Genji over here who is missing some health. So those are all targets that potentially you could consider healing. Or I guess that's Moira. And this Hanzo's here is half as well, right?
Get in here!
It's a little slow on the reaction, but I do really like this immortality here. There are a lot of times you could have used it earlier, but here you put it behind the cover, and then you can challenge the soldier with it. So that's pretty good. So, like, although the coalescence is going, you don't really want to like hard force here DPS. Maybe your idea was like you're just gonna die on point. In that case, it's okay or it's fine. But because you used immortality, like, and so you can't sustain in here. The coalescence is going, so you guys do have a little bit of an advantage in this fight. I would say it's better to just play outside the point slightly, like over here or even right here, and just like shoot in and like use the corner to peek in and out. And that way you also have more vision of the field, or like of the area, so that like if your monkey who's just coming back right now, if he gets inside, then you can heal him and shoot as well. Versus if you're in the middle, it's going to be very hard for you to both to like damage these people and also heal your monkey, because you have to like do a 180. If you're slightly outside and your monkey comes in here, then they're all in your field of view, so you can shoot and heal and shoot and heal. So you saw your Moira's critical. She is coalescing, so she's healing herself for 80 health per second, but you could still like right click there to top her off and make sure she doesn't die.
Join me.
You guys killed a bunch. I would just like this. I like this. You're looking to heal him, although he's coming too far. But you can do the same thing from a few steps further back. If you walk back in a straight line, you still have the same view, and then you'd be on the point and capping a little bit faster. But that's a pretty minor thing.
All better.
Yeah, like
All
right here. If you back up straight back like one more step, you'll be on the point, and you can still do everything you're doing here, right? I think you just kind of end up going slightly. Oops. I think you end up going slightly like this. Like you go in and then slightly to your right, which then cuts off the view using this wall. But if you just go straight back, you'll have the same view.
better.
Yeah, you move slightly this way. But if you just go straight back, you'll be on the point, and you have the same view, the same angles that you can do. Okay, and then you're capping right now. The monkey jumped back toward you. You need to not shoot this hog because he has hook, and a lot of the times previous you didn't get punished for it, but here you do get hooked and you die. So basically, like they just lost 3 people. If you live, your team's gonna win this fight. There's no reason that you have to 1v1 the hog, especially since you don't have either your cooldowns up. But if instead, if you just see the hog and you back up a little bit, if he wants to kill you, your team's gonna kill him, right? So you see him, you walk back this way, you don't get hooked, and then wait for your team to start pushing him, and then you come in after and you can mop him up. Basically, you would rather your like monkey be the one that gets hooked, or your Reaper, or your Hanzo even get hooked, while you stay alive, because once they get hooked, you can heal them and keep them from being killed by the hog. But if you get hooked in, you're probably gonna die. Or if it's like monkey, he might be able to, after he gets hooked, he might be able to jump out. Or if it's Moira, maybe she gets hooked and she can fade out. If it's Reaper, he can get hooked and then Wraith. Hanzo can get hooked and then jump, use his leap. So they all have escapes, but you don't, and you don't quite have your cooldown back yet. Right, but you die, but your team still cleans this up because it's a 5v1. So if you had just sat on point and capped it, it'd still be a 5v1, and you guys would still win this fight, and you'd be ready for their next push, rather than respawn.
Find their weakness.
But I think the rest of this match, they just push a bit, but they never take point. So I'm gonna skip the rest of it. But basically, hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of the things you could improve on, and like hopefully I've shown you enough examples of places where you just you're not doing your job, which is keeping your team alive, either whether it's because you're not using cooldowns or because you're just not healing and you're choosing to do damage instead. That like there's DPS is fine, but you need to do your primary job first, which is keeping your team alive through your cooldowns and through healing. And so I think at the end you get a card for healing. 6, 7, even 7k is really low for heals. As a support, like it should be at least 8, probably closer to 10. And I think there are plenty of, like, if you had healed at the times where you needed to heal, you'd be pretty close to 10. and this would have been a really easy stop for your team, rather than it kind of going back and forth a bit, even though you guys still won in the end. So hopefully that's helpful. Like, let me know if you have any questions, and just try to think more about healing and like prioritize it higher. Do damage when there's nothing to be healed, but switch back to healing. Look around and check if people need healing more often, and switch back to healing when it's needed. And by keeping your team alive, you'll be able to do more damage as well, and like you'll be safer to do more damage as well. So like healing the rest of the team also helps you.